My name is Emily Thompson, and at 34, I finally achieved my dream of owning a stunning home in the suburbs of Boston. After years as a tech executive, I saved enough for a $2 million property that symbolized everything I'd worked for. What should have been the happiest day of my life turned into chaos when my sister Laura made a shocking announcement at my housewarming party, leaving everyone, including me, stunned. Before I dive into my story, let me know where you're reading from in the comments below. If you love family drama, hit that subscribe button for more stories like mine. Growing up in a middle-class Boston neighborhood, my family seemed fairly typical on the surface. We didn't have luxuries, but my parents ensured we had what we needed. My relationship with my sister Laura, 4 years my senior, was complex. Laura often took on a maternal role, helping with homework, defending me from bullies, and even lending me clothes despite our mom saying she didn't have to. As we grew older, our paths diverged sharply. Laura chose a traditional route, marrying her college sweetheart, Mark, by 23. By 30, she had 4 daughters, Chloe, Ava, Grace, and Zoe, now 12, 10, 8, and 5. Laura dropped out of college when pregnant with Chloe, and Mark worked as a pharmaceutical sales rep. They weren't destitute, but raising 4 kids on one income was tough. I, however, took a different road. I threw myself into academics, earning a full scholarship to MIT for computer science. While Laura was raising kids, I interned at tech startups. While she decorated her modest 3-bedroom home, I landed my first executive role at a promising tech firm. My career was built on relentless effort, 80-hour weeks, missed family events, and a non-existent social life. By 28, I was the youngest female chief technology officer in my company's history. At 32, a bigger firm headhunted me with an offer that doubled my salary. I lived frugally, renting a modest city apartment, driving a practical car, and investing heavily. My one splurge was travel, 2 international trips yearly to recharge. All the while, I saved for a dream home that would embody my success. When I found the perfect property, I knew it was the one, a 5-bedroom colonial in a prestigious Boston suburb, set on 2 acres of pristine grounds. It had a gourmet kitchen with marble countertops, a home office with built-in bookshelves, a sunroom overlooking a garden, a pool, and a master suite like a luxury hotel. The $2 million price tag was steep, but my savings made it manageable. Signing the closing papers brought an indescribable sense of triumph. This house represented every late night, missed holiday, and sacrifice. I had plans for every room. The master suite was my sanctuary, with a spa-like bathroom. One bedroom would be my home office for remote work, another a guest room for friends, and a third a fitness room with a treadmill and weights. The 5th room was TBD, maybe a library or craft space. Planning the housewarming was thrilling. I invited 40 guests, work colleagues, college friends, new neighbors, and family. My parents, now in their 60s, were proud but reserved. "That's a lot of house for one person," my mom remarked when I showed her photos, but I brushed it off as a generational gap. Laura and her family were invited, and though her congratulations seemed genuine, she asked few questions about the house, which felt odd given her love for decor. In the weeks before the party, I obsessed over making the house perfect, hiring an interior decorator for key spaces while leaving some rooms sparse until I finalized their purpose. I arranged upscale catering, premium wines, and a bartender. The morning of the housewarming, I woke at 6 a.m., too excited to sleep. Though a cleaning service had come the day before, I fussed over details, adjusting pillows, straightening frames. Caterers were set for 3 p.m., guests for 5 p.m. By noon, floral arrangements arrived, white lilies in the entryway, wildflowers in the sunroom, roses in the dining room. The bartender confirmed the alcohol delivery, and extra chairs arrived. My mom arrived early saying, "I thought you might need help," though I had it under control. As I toured her through the furnished rooms, she eyed the empty ones. "What will you do with all these bedrooms?" she asked in the future gym, which held only a yoga mat and weights. I explained my plans, gym, office, guest room, but she nodded absently saying, "It's a lot of wasted space for one person. Laura could use this with the girls growing." I redirected her to help with platters, brushing off the familiar comparison. By 5 p.m., guests arrived. My colleague David and his wife brought a houseplant. My college friend Megan, who drove from New Hampshire, marveled at the driveway. My dad gave a rare hug, saying, "Beautiful house, sweetheart," before grabbing a scotch. Neighbors brought wine and small gifts. By 6:30, the house buzzed with laughter, appetizers circulating, the bartender busy. I'd just shown colleagues the pool when I noticed Laura's family hadn't arrived.
I texted her. Everything okay?
Party started an hour ago. She replied, running late, Mark had work.
Bitte soon.
At 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. Laura, Mark, and their girls stood there. Laura looked frazzled, her dress thrown on, hair messy. Mark held a gift bag with a tight smile. The girls burst with energy. "Sorry we're late," Laura said, hugging me. "Aunt Emily, your house is like a castle." Ava, 10, exclaimed, rushing inside.
"Girls, no running."
Mark called, but Chloe, Grace, and Zoe followed, their voices echoing. I led Laura and Mark to the backyard, where guests mingled. Laura seemed distracted, eyeing the house's details. Mark chatted politely but kept glancing at her.
"Wandatour."
I offered. "Absolutely," Laura said. "The girls are probably exploring anyway." As we toured, Laura's comments grew sharp. "In the kitchen, this is bigger than our whole first floor. In the master, your closet could fit the girls' bunk beds. In an empty bedroom, this would be perfect for the twins, their rooms half this size." Mark looked uneasy. In my office, Laura lingered, saying, "This gets great light. Perfect for a playroom." "Laura," Mark warned quietly. She ignored him, adding, "It's next to what could be the girls' room.
Ideal setup."
Her tone unnerved me. I guided them downstairs for dinner, where caterers had set up a buffet. My mom helped the girls with food, Zoe already spilling sauce on her dress. As guests settled at the dining table and smaller living room tables, I felt pure joy, my home filled with loved ones, a moment I'd created. I stood, champagne in hand, and the room quieted. "Thank you all for coming," I began. "This house represents years of hard work and dreams."
Sharing it with you means everything. Shares to new beginnings and good friends.
Glasses clinked, smiles spread. As I sat, Laura stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. "Since we're making announcements," she said, voice carrying, "I have exciting news." Mark looked alarmed, my mom curious. Laura smiled oddly. "Mark and I are making a big change. We're selling our house."
Murmurs of the Preisspreit.
Relieved it wasn't worse, I said, "Congrats."
New neighborhood. Laura smile grey, locking eyes with me.
"Not exactly."
"We're moving in here with you."
My glass nearly slipped.
"What?"
"We're moving in with you," she repeated louder. "The girls need space, and you have all these empty rooms. It makes sense."
The Längse fell.
I stared, expecting a joke, but her expression was defiant. "Laura, I started, but my mom cut in, "Isn't it wonderful? The girls will have room, and Emily won't be alone in this big house." Family friends nodded, some clapping, the applause spreading. "So generous, Emily," my mom's friend Karen said. "Family helping family," my dad's friend added, toasting. I froze, glass in hand, as reality hit. Laura announced moving into my house without discussion, and I was being praised for it. "We're living here?" Chloe asked, eyes wide. "Yes, sweetie," Laura said. "Aunt Emily has space and wants to share."
"I get my own room."
Grace shouted, jumping up. "Girls settle," Mark said, but their excitement grew. My mom stood saying, "Let's plan. The girls could take the east wing, and Emily, you wouldn't mind moving your office to the sunroom, right?" Laura nodded. "We could make that extra bedroom a playroom."
"The backyard's perfect, and the pool's great for summer." I found my voice.
"Wait. We haven't discussed this." Laura continued, "We'll need child-proof locks in the kitchen, and that dining table's too formal for kids." Guests shifted uncomfortably. David raised an eyebrow, but I had no answer. "Laura," I said firmly, "this is the first I'm hearing of this." "Don't be dramatic," my mom interjected. "We all know this house is too big for you."
"The girls need the space more."
Laura pulled out her phone. I've been looking at bunk beds for the girls' room. Mark cleared his throat. Maybe we should talk privately. Nothing to discuss, my mom declared. Family helps family. Emma grabbed Zoe, saying, "Let me show you my room."
Tee ran upstairs. Girls weit.
I called, but Laura followed, saying, "I'll show you the layout. The twins can share the blue room. Chloe needs her own space now." I excused myself and followed them upstairs, finding Emma and Grace jumping on the guest room bed. "Girls, stop jumping," I said, struggling to stay calm. "Laura, we need to talk privately." "Say it in front of family," she replied, checking closets. "These are huge. Plenty of room for the girls' things." My mom, in the next room, mused, "These need colorful curtains, too sterile for kids." I took a breath. I never agreed to this. This is my house, and I just moved in.
Lauras Expression hardenet.
"You have 5 bedrooms, Emily."
5.
For one person. Our 3-bedroom house is cramped. The twins' room is the size of your bathroom. "That's not my problem," I said, instantly regretting it. My mom gasped. "I didn't raise you to be selfish." "It's not selfish to want my own house," I defended. "I worked hard for this." "And we haven't."
Lauras voice rose.
"Mark works 60 hours a week. I juggle 4 kids and a part-time job."
Vi red Roning.
Her tired eyes hinted at deeper issues.
What's going on?
I asked softly, "Why are you selling your house?" Laura's composure wavered. "We're underwater on the mortgage. The housing market tanked after that chemical plant opened. We owe more than it's worth, and the bank's threatening foreclosure." "Why didn't you tell me?"
Because you never ask.
Laura exploded.
You're so caught up in your perfect life.
"When did you last care about our finances or help with the girls?" Her words stung. I had been focused on my career, perhaps neglecting her struggles. "That doesn't mean I agreed to you moving in," I countered. "This should have been private, not announced at my party." My mom stepped in. "Family helps family, without question. Your grandma lived with us for 15 years. Times were different," I argued. "Those were discussed, not sprung on someone." "We tried," Laura said. "I called 3 times last week, but you were too busy." She wasn't wrong. I'd rushed her off the phone. Mark appeared.
Everything okay? Did you know?
I asked him.
He hesitated.
"We discussed it, but I thought we'd ask privately this weekend." Laura glared. "We don't have time."
The bank called yesterday, 30 days.
30 days until what? I demanded. "Foreclosure," Laura admitted, voice breaking. "We're 3 months behind. Mark's commissions changed, my hours were cut, and with the girls' activities and medical bills." "So you ambushed me?" I was incredulous. "You have the space." Laura shouted. "Would it kill you to share?" My mom nodded. "Your sister sacrificed so much for you growing up." The familiar guilt trip surfaced. "That doesn't give her the right to claim my house," I insisted. "It's temporary," Laura said, though her earlier tone suggested otherwise. "How long?" I asked. She didn't answer. Chloe appeared. "Mom, can I have the room with the window seat?" Before Laura could reply, I said, "No one's getting rooms because no one's moving in without my agreement." Chloe's face fell, and I felt awful. "Now you're making the girls cry," my mom accused.
Is your privacy worth hurting your nieces?
"This isn't about space," I explained. "It's about boundaries and respect. You should have talked to me privately." "We don't have time for boundaries," Laura snapped. Mark spoke up.
Emily's right.
"We should have discussed this first."
Whose side are you on? Laura demanded. Do you want our daughters homeless?
"No," he said, "but this isn't the way." My mom threw up her hands. My daughter, with all this space, refusing to help her sister. Was I selfish? Would sharing my home temporarily be so bad? But past temporary arrangements with Laura had dragged on, my boundaries ignored under family excuses. I never said I wouldn't help, I clarified, but moving in isn't the only solution, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Laura lauket bitterly.
Of course you're not.
Heaven forbid kids disrupt your perfect life.
That's not fair, I began, but she cut in. What's not fair is you have all this while my kids are in closet-sized rooms, or that you take luxury trips while we can't afford a beach day. There it was, decades of resentment over our different paths. I worked hard for this, I said quietly.
I made different choices.
You think I don't work hard?
Laura's voice rose.
Try raising 4 kids on a shrinking budget. I never said that, I defended, but your choices aren't my responsibility. I regretted it instantly. My children are choices that inconvenience you. Laura fumed. They're family. I didn't mean it like that, I backpedaled. Yes, you did, she insisted. You think you're better because you chose career over family. The argument veered off track, unearthing old wounds. This isn't productive, I said.
Let's rejoin the party and talk tomorrow.
Nothing to discuss, Laura declared. We've started packing.
The realtor's coming Monday.
You're packing without asking me? We knew you'd say yes, my mom interjected, because that's what family does. The pattern was clear. My needs were secondary, my success meant I owed them. As we stood in the hallway, Laura crumpled onto the bed, sobbing. You don't understand how bad it is.
Wie Drohning.
Despite my anger, my heart ached.
Mark satt beside her.
We're not just behind on the mortgage, he said. We've maxed out credit cards, have medical debt from Grace's broken arm, and Laura's car needs repairs we can't afford. My mom added, they've struggled for years, too proud to ask until now. Why not sooner? I asked. Laura looked up, mascara streaked.
You're my little sister.
I'm supposed to take care of you, not need your help. Her shame surprised me. I'd thought she saw me as selfish. But springing this on me at my party? I pressed. I knew you'd say no gently, offer money, Laura said. We need a home. I recalled Laura's sacrifices, taking blame for a broken vase, working 2 jobs for my college laptop, editing my essays. But also the guilt trips, the expectation I'd always give in. Ava ran in. Aunt Emily, you have a pool. Can we swim every day when we live here? Laura smiled weakly. We'll see, sweetie. The kids are packed, Mark admitted. They're excited. My anger flared. They'd raised the girls' hopes without asking.
You let them pack.
We had no choice, Laura insisted.
The bank gave us 30 this yesterday.
There are always choices, I countered. We could have talked privately. My mom stood. Enough. I've told the family you're taking them in. Your cousin Lisa thinks it's generous. You told the family? I was stunned. Of course, she said. Everyone's impressed for once, not just about your job. The jab hurt, revealing her view of my career. They're bringing their dog, Laura added. Doc. My pristine floors flashed in my mind. He's family, Laura said defensively. Grace appeared, holding a tablet. Aunt Emily, look what Mom designed. It was a Pinterest board, new home renovations, with plans for my house, barn doors, bunk beds, a play area in my office, child-friendly furniture. When did you make this? I asked. A few weeks, Laura admitted, since we knew we couldn't keep our house. Weeks, and you never told me? I tried, she protested, but you were busy. Not for this, I insisted. Mark stood.
This is out of hand. Let's go home and talk tomorrow.
Nothing to discuss, my mom said. Family helps family. It's not that simple, I said.
This is my home. I decide who lives here. Laura's face hardened.
So you're saying no? You'll let us be homeless. I won't be manipulated into something I didn't agree to, I clarified.
I deserve to be consulted.
Your home, Laura repeated bitterly.
That's all you care about.
I looked at their faces. Laura's anger, my mom's disappointment, Mark's discomfort, the girls' confusion. This was about breaking a lifelong pattern. Go downstairs, I said calmly.
I need a moment.
Running away won't solve it, my mom chided.
I'm not, I assured. I'll be down soon.
They left reluctantly, the girls' footsteps echoing. Alone, I leaned against the wall, then went to my office. In the bottom drawer, under folders, was a leather portfolio. I pulled it out, took a breath, and headed downstairs. The living room hushed as I descended. Guests looked curious or uneasy, word had spread. Laura sat tearful but defiant, her girls around her. My mom patted her hand. Mark stood awkwardly.
I setze portfolio on the coffee table.
Thank you for your patience, I began. Family discussions can get emotional, as you've seen. A few uneasy chuckles followed. Since this is now a family meeting, I want you as witnesses. Laura frowned. What are you talking about? I opened the portfolio, keeping documents face down. 3 months ago, I got a call from Brian, Mark's colleague. He was concerned you were asking for loans, that things were tight. He thought I could help but didn't want to overstep. Mark looked surprised.
Brian kellet you.
I nodded. I'm glad he did. I did some research. I slid the first document to Laura and Mark. This is your mortgage statement. You're not 3 months behind, you're 5. Foreclosure has started. Mark looked away, ashamed. Laura was speechless. Second, I continued, revealing another document, your house isn't worth what you think. The chemical plant made it nearly unsellable.
How'd you get These?
Laura asked. A friend in real estate finance, I said. I wanted to help my way, not by being ambushed. I revealed a third document, my attorney's letterhead. 3 weeks ago, I bought your mortgage debt from the bank.
The längse fell.
You what?
Laura whisperet.
I bought your mortgage, I repeated. The bank sold the debt to avoid foreclosure.
I holdt the lien.
My mom's eyes widened. You own their house? In a way, I said calmly. I plan to tell you privately this weekend, offering a solution respecting everyone's boundaries. Mark stepped forward, hopeful.
What solution?
I showed a rent-to-own agreement. You stay in your house, paying me a reduced monthly amount you can afford. After 5 years, you can buy it back at fair market value, with some rent as a down payment. Laura stared, speechless. This keeps the girls in their school, with friends, I said.
You don't come into my space, and I keep my home.
You planned this for weeks without telling us? Laura asked. Yes, I said, like you planned to move here without asking.
Mark laughed softly. She's got a point.
My mom wasn't convinced. Why not let them move in?
Family should stay together.
Because it's not what anyone wants, I replied. Laura and Mark need their space, the girls need stability, and I need my home. To Laura, I said, I was going to surprise you privately, not have you guilt me in front of everyone. Laura's defiance faded to shame. I was desperate, she whispered.
You could be trusted me, Isaid.
Asked directly, not manipulated.
Mark scanned the document, nodding.
This is generous, Emily. It's what family does, I said, echoing my mom, with respect for boundaries.
The längse fell.
Chloe tugged Laura's sleeve. Does this mean we're not moving to Aunt Emily's castle? Laura looked at me, understanding dawning.
No, sweetheart.
Aunt Emily helped us keep our home. Oh, Chloe said, disappointed.
I wanted the window sehr drum.
I smiled. You can visit, Chloe.
The ghost room's yours.
Tension eased. Guests resumed talking. Mark read the agreement, approvingly. Laura approached me. Why? After how I acted. Because you're my sister, those girls are my nieces, and we're family, I said. But this respects everyone's needs, help without codependence. She nodded. I need to think, talk with Mark. Of course, I agreed. The papers are filed, your house is safe. My mom, less certain, said, family should stay together. We are, Mom, I said gently, just not under one roof. Guests began leaving, some congratulating me, others slipping out after the drama. David, the last to go, said, "Quite a power move." "It wasn't meant to be," I admitted. "I wanted to help on my terms." "Sometimes standing your ground is the kindest thing," he said. Alone, the house felt quiet but mine. For the first time, I felt Laura saw me as an equal, not just a sister who owed her. The next morning, Laura texted, "Can we talk, just us?"
We met at a café.
"I'm sorry," she said. "Ambushing you was manipulative." Her apology surprised me. "Thank you," I replied. "I'm sorry for springing my solution publicly. You backed me into a corner." She shook her head.
I gave you no kvase.
We sat silently, decades of feelings between us. "Mark and I want to accept your offer," she said. "It's generous and keeps the girls settled."
Relief hit me.
"I'm glad. I want to help, just not by sacrificing my independence." "I've been jealous of your freedom, your success," she admitted. "It's easier to call you selfish than face my resentment." "And I've been insensitive to your struggles," I said, "too focused on work." "We've both made choices," she said, "neither better nor worse." Over weeks, we formalized the deal with my attorney. Fair terms, gradual rent increases, and a buyback option. My mom resisted, saying, "We didn't need legal documents in my day." "Times change," I replied. "This gives dignity, independence, security." I started therapy, unpacking guilt and obligation. My therapist said, "Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges for safe connection." 3 months later, I hosted Laura's family for a relaxed dinner. The girls swam in the pool. "Your aunt's house is cool," Mark said to Ava. "Yeah," she replied, "but I like our house. My friends are there." Their words confirmed my belief. The girls needed stability, not more space. Laura and I began monthly sister dinners, sharing openly about fears, regrets, dreams. I learned of her motherhood struggles, her abandoned interior design aspirations. She learned of my occasional loneliness, my questions about career versus family. "It's never too late," she said. My bond with my nieces grew. Chloe painted in my sunroom, Grace swam. I became the aunt I wanted to be, connected by affection, not obligation. My home remained my sanctuary, but I shared it on my terms. Monthly family dinners, sleepovers in the window seat room. I adopted a cat, embracing a touch of chaos. A year later, we gathered for a small family dinner. Laura toasted, "To Emily, who taught us boundaries can be loving." I smiled, adding, "To new beginnings, it's never too late to change." Later, my mom approached as I loaded the dishwasher. "I was wrong," she said. "Family doesn't need to live together. Your way was better." Coming from her, it was revolutionary. "Thank you, Mom," I said.
She hooked me tightly.
"I'm proud of you," she whispered, words I'd waited a lifetime to hear. The journey wasn't over, old patterns could resurface. But we'd built a foundation of mutual respect. My home was my sanctuary, yet true security lay in relationships where love and respect coexisted, where helping didn't mean sacrificing self. What's your experience with family boundaries? Have you had to stand your ground? Share in the comments. If this resonated, like and subscribe for more life lessons. Sometimes, the most loving act is defining where you end and others begin. Thanks for reading my story. Until next time, take care.